Jai Vishnu Paramhansa Prabhu Rajakacharya Stotara Shata Shri Srimati Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariva Jakacharya Stotara Shata Shri Sriman Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Satyananda Bhakti Vinod Kaur Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhuma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupa Sanata Bhatta Raghunath Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopakopana Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Dev Ki Jai. Tulsi Dev Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sekirtan Ki Jai. Nath Raj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Iskand Bhartma Guru Vrinda Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gora Brahmanande Haribo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru, Sri Duranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayana Namaskritya.
Narayana Namaskritya.
Naram Jaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devam Saraswatam Vyasam.
Devim Saraswati Vyasam.
Chatojayam Niridayat.
Tavodayam Nirayat.
Nastapresha Bhatreshu.
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhakti Naistiki.
Bhakti Bhagavati Naistiki.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances under the personality of Godhead Narayan, under Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, under Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and under Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by the rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service under the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. All right, good morning, everybody. Hare Krishna, what is your name, Prabhu?
Radha Das.
Radha Pardas?
Radha Pad,
Pat.
like Prabhupada.
Oh, yeah, Radha Pad. Okay, Radha Pardas. Nice to meet you. Do you live here in Tucson?
Yeah, I give this one, yes.
Okay, very nice. Yeah.
Radha Pad is a long time ago.
Okay, well, I've just never seen you. Okay, sorry. Yeah. All right, so today is August 31st, 2025, and it is the Holy Appearance Day of Srimati Radharani. Jai, Haribol. So I am in no way qualified to talk about this at all. So all I can do is just repeat what better devotees than me have said. And I'm going to start with a quote from Srila Prabhupada. This is from a lecture that he gave on Radhasami in 1971 in London. And actually, I was listening to this morning. It was very sweet. Srila Prabhupada says, Radharani is Hari Priya, very dear to Krishna. So if we approach Krishna through Radharani, through the mercy of Radharani, then it becomes very easy. Radharani recommends that this devotee is very nice, and then Krishna immediately accepts. However fool I may be, because it is recommended by Radharani, Krishna accepts. Therefore, in Vrindavan, you'll find all the devotees. They're chanting more Radharani's name than Krishna's. Wherever you'll go, you'll find the devotees are addressing Jaya Radhe. You'll find still in Vrindavan. They are glorifying Radharani. They are more interested in worshiping Radharani because however fallen I may be, if some way or another I can please Radharani, then it is very easy for me to understand Krishna. So Radharani, to please her is very important, right? Because then we can also approach Krishna. So Radharani, we all know, she is the greatest devotee of Krishna. She's the original goddess of fortune. She's the merciful, eternal consort of Krishna. And we can no more separate Radharani from Krishna than we can like heat from fire, right? We just can't. So Krishna is all attractive, but Radha has such good qualities that she attracts even Krishna, right? So as Srila Prabhupada said, we have to go through Radha to get to Krishna, but thankfully she's very merciful. She will see some small service that maybe you've done or I've done or you've done, and she will say to Krishna, see, here's a nice devotee, right? She'll magnify that small good quality that we have, and because of that will allow us to come to Krishna if we have the proper mood. So if we please her, we can easily approach Krishna. So how is it that we please Radha? Who has an idea? Anybody? Do you have an idea? Or you? Yeah, Vanessa?
By not trying to directly serve the devotees.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it, absolutely. Anyone else have any ideas? No? Okay, so we can start by chanting Hare Krishna, right? We chant Hare Krishna every day. And so what Hare is the vocative form of Hara, right? That's another form of, another name for Radha. And so we're asking her to engage us in this divine service, the service of the Lord, which, like Vanessa said, means serving the devotees, right? That's very good. And so we're asking every day we're chanting our rounds and we're asking Radha, please engage us in the Lord's service. And so that's how we begin to please Radha, right? Is by chanting this holy names and by engaging ourselves in service of the devotees. So if we perform this service very nicely, we please her. And then if we please her, we can approach Krishna. So if we make offenses, this is not pleasing. And so our word for offense is aparad, right? And so actually that means without radha, right? Apa means without, and then rad means radha, right? So without radha. So if we're making an offense, we're not pleasing radha. And so that, I remember when I first heard that, it made so much sense to me. I said, of course that would be the word for an offense, right? To do something without radha, right? So Krishna, he was so amazed by Radha's love that he wanted to experience that, right? Because that was something that he hadn't experienced. And he actually came as his own devotee, as Lord Chaitanya. So he could experience that love that Radha has for him. So let's talk a little bit about Sri Radha's appearance, and then I'm going to just tell and read some pastimes, because I really have no qualification to talk on this subject other than that. Radharani, she appeared near Mathura, and so her father, King Rishabhanu, one day he went to the banks of the Yamuna for a bath, and while he was on the banks of the Yamuna, he saw this beautiful golden lotus, and he was just staring at it like, wow, this is such a beautiful golden lotus. Let me go see what it is. He couldn't just take his eyes off of it, right? So he walks over there, and inside there's this beautiful baby girl who I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but that was Radha. Yeah. So he brought her home to his wife Kirtida, and his wife was overjoyed. And after a few days, the baby girl, she still hadn't opened her eyes. She hadn't cried. She hadn't opened her eyes or anything. And so they were a little bit concerned. They thought maybe she's blind, you know. Maybe she's blind and deaf. She's not crying. She's not opening her eyes. And so word had spread throughout the village that they had a new beautiful baby girl. And so their friends decided to come over and see her. And their friends were none other than Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. And who do you think they brought with them? Yeah, Krishna, little baby Krishna. And so he managed to get over to the little cradle they had her in and look inside. And right at that moment, she opened her eyes. And so the first thing she saw was Krishna's beautiful face. And now she was able to look at her beloved. And she also started crying too. So crying out for her beloved. And so that is the appearance of Srimati Radharani. So now I want to tell a few pastimes, and then maybe if you feel like it, we could you guys could tell some of your favorite pastimes. So my favorite pastime is one that was told by Indrayuma Swami. I think I've told it before, but I love it, and it's Krishna and the gopis and their wrestling. So one day, Radha and the other gopis, they were out in the forest, and they see this kind of like square depression in the land. And she said, what is this square? And Krishna said, oh, well, this is for wrestling with the cowherd boys. And so Radha says, oh, you wrestle with the cowherd boys. Do you win? And she says, my brother says he wins. Right? And Krishna, he's a little taken aback about this. And then she says, can we see your wrestling outfit? Krishna says, impossible. I only wear my wrestling outfit when I'm wrestling. So Lalita's there, and she says, well, what if you're challenged? And Krishna says, well, yeah, I mean, if I'm challenged to a wrestling match, then I'll have to do it. And she said, well, I challenge you. Yeah. And Krishna says, well, how can I fight a delicate princess like Radha? And one gopi says, well, how can you turn down a challenge? So Krishna dresses in his best wrestling outfit. The gopis, they change into more appropriate wrestling clothes. 'Cause, wrestling in saris and all kinds of ornaments is not a good plan for winning. And they put their hair in top knots, and I like to imagine that they put their saris in the dhoti fashion, like I see some girls do. So Krishna tells them the rules. He says he's going to inflict great pain by knees to the chest, hair pulling, punches to the face, strangleholds, more, right? So now the gopis are getting a little uneasy. They're saying, Lalita, what did you get us into here? So Krishna says, don't worry. Okay, don't worry. We'll just do pastime wrestling, which I think is more like, exhibition wrestling. It's not, I guess he's not going to be punching them in the face and strangling them. So he said, it's only fair if we all fight me together, right? So they did. So all the girls start kind of ganging up on Krishna. Now, consistently, Krishna's fighting with each of them, but consistently, it's Radha who ends up being his most formidable opponent. And so eventually what he does is he expands himself into many, many Krishnas, and he goes up behind each gopi, and he grabs them from behind. And the gopis start protesting, hey, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair, grabbing us from behind. He ends up winning with all the other gopis, but still now it's just him and Radha. So finally, him and Radha, they're wrestling, and Radha manages to get him onto the ground. And finally, he just taps out. And why is that? Was Radha actually physically stronger than Krishna? What do you think, Vanessa? Was it because why did Krishna tap out when he was wrestling with Radha? Do you think Radha was just so strong? She was able to physically hold him there?
I don't know.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Just was lovingly submissive.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. She won because of her love and devotion. Because Krishna is able to be controlled by that love and devotion. So that's my favorite pastime. I just think it's really cute. I don't know. I just love that pastime. Yeah.
Is that your Swami from that?
Yeah, that's one of
Did
them.
he give a reference?
No, he has not. I mean, he may have, but I don't have it. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch the video. I can send it to you if I think of it. Yeah. All right, so that's my favorite one. So here's another pastime. This is the story of the stolen ring.
What is it?
The story of the stolen ring.
You're competing now with
Yeah. Okay. All right, so there is a festival coming up, and Radha, she wanted to perfect her dancing. She decides, of course, that it'd be best if Krishna could teach her to dance. Of course, that makes sense. So her gopi friends, they try to talk her out of this. They tell her, Krishna, he's not such a good dancer. In fact, we had to teach him some dance moves. Why don't we bring a professional dancer in to instruct you? They're, trying to talk her out of this. So of course, Radha, she's not moved by any of these arguments. She doesn't want to hear it. So she proceeds to go to Krishna alone. Now the gopis, they did not trust Krishna. So they say, well, at least let us make him come to you instead of you going to him. But Radha says, when have you seen the well go to a person who is thirsty? No, the thirsty person must go to the well. So Radha goes home, so Radha goes to see Krishna so that he can improve her dancing. And after one lesson, she goes home. Her gopis are undressing her, and they notice that one of her 64 ornaments is missing. It's a mirror ring. So this mirror ring, what it was actually used for was so Radha could steal glances at Krishna, right? Without appearing to look directly at him. She could just sort of aim the mirror ring at him and then like look at her hand. But really, she was looking at Krishna, right? and so also, yeah, and we know that Radha, when she gets dressed and undressed, her servant girls, they keep track of all of her ornaments. So they knew immediately that one was missing, even though I couldn't imagine wearing like 64 different ornaments, but and let alone keep track of them all. But she has these, her girls to take care of that for her. So they're keeping track, they were looking, and they noticed, hey, wait a minute, your mirror ring's missing. So Vishaka tells Radha that Krishna must have stolen it. Radha says, Krishna would never steal any of my jewelry. Vishaka laughs and says, dearest Radha, you do not know him. We know him. He's the biggest thief in the world. He's the master of thieves. Just see, he's stolen our butter. He's stolen our clothes, our hearts, the sins of his devotees, and now your ring. So Vishaka finds Krishna and demands the ring back, but Krishna claims to not know what she's talking about. The gopis go and search him, and they find the ring. Of course, they find it because he took it. So they find the ring, and Krishna was caught. Lalita convinces Radha to punish Krishna for this. Radha says, I'll never talk to Krishna again. Vishaka then convinces her to take revenge on Krishna by stealing from him, like he stole from her. So Vishaka showed Radha how to steal from Krishna. I guess Vishaka was skilled in this. Maybe she was a pickpocket some other time. I don't know. So now Krishna was out with his calves, and he decided to take a nap. Madhu Mangal wanted to nap too, but he didn't want Krishna to leave without him. So if he woke up, he didn't want Krishna to leave without him if he woke up. So he tied their legs together so that if Krishna woke up, he'd feel it, and he would also wake up. So Vishaka and Radha very sneakily, very deftly, they snuck up and they stole Krishna's peacock feather, his favorite black chadar, which is a nice trivia point there, that Krishna's favorite chadar is black. I used that to win a game I was playing with some other devotees. We were supposed to come up with something about Krishna that nobody knew. And I said, what color is Krishna's favorite chadar? Black. Anyway, okay. His stick for controlling his cows, his ankle bells, and his flute. So they went above and beyond, I think. All right. Then Vishaka, this is my favorite part, Vishaka cuts Madhu Mangal's mustache. Yeah. And she did it unevenly, too. So when the boys woke, they realized what must have happened. So they disguised themselves as old gopis, and they went to Radha's house. And they cried, they were in such distress. They were feigning, oh Krishna, oh Krishna. Now this is Krishna, and he's out there dressed as an old gopi going, oh Krishna, feigning separation from Krishna. So when Radha and the gopis heard this, they come up with a plan to help the old gopis. Vishaka said, Radha, why don't we go get all that we stole from Krishna, and we put it on and we pretend to be Krishna, and that will soothe these old gopis. So Radha did. And when she did so, one of the old gopis threw off their disguise. And it, of course, was Krishna. And Krishna took his things back, and in a wink of an eye, everybody burst out laughing, except for Madhu Mangal. Why? Because his mustache was still crooked. Yeah. Yeah, and he was very upset. And so he was embarrassed. And then Vishaka, she took some pity on him, and she waved her hand in front of his mustache, and it was returned to its former glory. So, so he didn't have to walk around with that chopped up mustache.
I'm surprised he had a mustache.
Yeah,
Must have been a Kishore past that.
yeah, he was a little bit older than Krishna. I recall, I remember when I first heard this story too, I thought, wow, he has a mustache. And I think he was a little bit older than Krishna. Krishna was quite a bit younger than him. So yeah, he had a mustache. All right. So let me see. I have a few other stories. So one of my favorite stories, I mean, this one just makes me laugh so much. And Radha's in it, but very, very slightly. It's more about Krishna, but I still want to tell this story. And it's when Krishna pretends to be Abhimanyu. I love this story. So one day Abhimanyu, he went to the market to buy some cows. Now Abhimanyu is actually Radha's husband. So I know all of you in here know that, but yes, Radha, she actually was married to somebody else. And
So-called husband.
yeah, her so-called husband. But really, like we've said before, you know, to separate Radha and Krishna is like trying to separate heat from fire. You just can't do it, right? But her husband was Abhimanyu, and he had his mother and his sister, Jutila and Kutila. So the mother is Jutila, right? And Kutila is the sister. Radha and Krishna were always trying to get together, and Jutila and Kutila were trying to always prevent Radha from going to be with Krishna. Because, I mean, naturally, that's, I think, what anybody would do, you know, if they saw that their son or their brother was married to a girl and she kept trying to run off. So this one day, Krishna decided to play a little trick on them. And so Abhimanyu, he went to the market to buy some cows, and he saw some cows that he liked, and he decided to get them, but he didn't have money with him. So he went back home to get some money so he could purchase cows. However, before that, Krishna had started a rumor in the town that said, Krishna's coming in the disguise of Abhimanyu. He's coming so he can come to see Radha, come to Srimati Radharani. And so, of course, Jatila and Kutila heard this. They heard this rumor. You know, word travels fast. I mean, even now, word can travel super fast in a small community or a large one. So when they heard this, they thought, we're not going to let Krishna get away with this. So Abhimanyu comes walking up so he can get the coins for his cows that he wants to buy. And Jutila and Kutila say, oh no, we're not letting you in here. We know what you're up to. We know that you're actually Krishna. They say, get out of here. We know that you're Krishna in disguise. Get away, or we're going to beat you with these sticks. Get out. And so they toss him out of his own house, his own. So they chase him out. And Abhimanyu's like, what is going on? My mom and my sister are chasing me out of the house. What is happening? And he said, I just came back to get some money to buy some cows. And they said, we know your cunningness, Krishna. Get out of here now. So Abhimanyu ran away. There was nothing else he could do. Meanwhile, from another direction, here comes Lord Krishna, perfectly disguised as Abhimanyu. And Jutila and Kutila see him, and their hearts are overwhelmed with affection. And they say, oh, Abhimanyu, we're so happy to see you. Do you know what just happened? Do you know that rascal Krishna, he came disguised as you, but we didn't let him in here. He was trying to spend time with Radharani. Nope, we're not going to let him. So, and then he said, here, now please go spend some time with Radha. So they said this is an auspicious day for Radharani to perform the puja to goddess Mangala Devi. She should fast today and should go to the temple and she should worship throughout the day and throughout the night. So whatever pleases you, my son. She sent Radha and Krishna away for the day and the night. Only she thought it was her son Abhimanyu. And so they arrived at the temple, and when they got there, Lalita, Vishaka, and the other gopis are there. And so the whole night they were able to have a beautiful Rasa Leela dance. And so that kind of, that story just makes me laugh all the time. And I don't know if you've seen the picture of Jutila and Kutila throwing out Abhimanyu from the house while Krishna, as Abhimanyu is walking up. I love that picture. It's just so funny. With the look on his face, he's just like so puzzled. All right. Let's see. I think maybe I'll read some of the, so the other part I really like is in the Krishna book when Radha, she's in separation from Krishna. All the gopis are. And they're very sad. They're going mad almost. And finally, the word comes from Uddhava. He comes to bring them word from Krishna. But when he gets there, they're all kind of just kooky. They're all kind of mad. And Radha in particular, she's talking to the bumblebee. I believe it is, yeah. Yeah, because he's reading the letter to the other gopis there, and she's talking to the bee, which you can just barely see the bee on the top there. It's kind of cut off. So I've always loved this part. So I'm just going to read this, and then if anybody has any of their favorites, so while we're reading this, think of your favorite pastime, and we can talk about it. Okay. So here we go. One of the gopis, namely Srimati Radharani, was so much absorbed in thoughts of Krishna by dint of her personal touch with him that she actually began to talk with a bumblebee, which was flying there and trying to touch her lotus feet. While the other gopis were talking with Krishna's messenger Uddhava, Srimati Radharani took that bumblebee to be a messenger from Krishna and began to talk with it as follows. Bumblebee, you are accustomed to drinking honey from flower to flower, and therefore you have preferred to be a messenger of Krishna, who is of the same nature as you. Inferring that Krishna is just flitting from girl to girl. I can see on your mustaches the red powder of kumkum, which was smeared on the flower garland of Krishna while it was pressed against the breasts of some other girl who is my competitor. You feel very proud because of having touched that garland, and your mustaches have become reddish. You have come here carrying a message for me, anxious to touch my feet. But, my dear bumblebee, let me warn you, don't touch me. I don't want any messages from your unreliable master. You are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that Srimati Radharani purposely addressed the bumblebee sarcastically in order to indirectly criticize the messenger Uddhava. Like the other gopis, Srimati Radharani saw that Uddhava's bodily features resembled Krishna's, but she also saw Uddhava as being equal to Krishna. Indirectly, therefore, she indicated that Uddhava was as unreliable as Krishna himself. Srimati Radharani wanted to give specific reasons why she was dissatisfied with Krishna and his messenger. She addressed the bumblebee. Your master Krishna is exactly your quality. You sit down on a flower, and after tasting a little honey, you immediately fly away and sit on another flower and taste. Similarly, only once did your master Krishna give me the chance to taste the touch of his lips, and then he left me altogether. I know also that the goddess of fortune Lakshmi, who is always in the midst of the lotus flower, and isn't that ironic because that's how she was appeared right in the midst of a lotus flower. Right? It's not ironic at all, to be honest. Because she's the original goddess of fortune. Okay. I know also that the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who is always in the midst of the lotus flower, is constantly engaged in Krishna's service. But I do not know how she became so captivated by Krishna and why she is so much attached to Krishna, although she knows his actual character. Maybe she is so much captivated by Krishna's sweet words that she cannot understand his real character. As far as we are concerned, we are more intelligent than the goddess of fortune. We are not going to be cheated anymore by Krishna or his messengers. As if this talk is not being obsessed with Krishna also, right? It's just so wonderful, she's proclaiming her desire to not be obsessed with Krishna, which in and of itself is an obsession with Krishna. And I've seen this behavior in sometimes at the beginning of relationships. We see this behavior, where a girl says, "Oh, I can't stand that boy," but really she loves him, So, okay. According to expert opinion, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is a subordinate expansion of Srimati Radharani. As Krishna has numerous expansions of Vishnu Murtis, so his pleasure potency Radharani also has innumerable expansions of goddesses of fortune. Therefore, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmiji, is always eager to be elevated to the position of the gopis. Srimati Radharani continued, "You foolish bumblebee, you are trying to satisfy me and get a reward by singing the glories of Krishna, but it is a useless attempt. We gopis are bereft of all our possessions. We are away from our homes and families. We know very well about Krishna. We know even more than you. So whatever you make up about him will be old stories to us. Krishna is now in the city and is better known as the friend of Arjuna. He now has many new girlfriends who are no doubt very happy in his association, because the lusty burning sensation of their breasts has been satisfied by Krishna. They are now happy. If you go there and glorify Krishna, they may be pleased to reward you. If you are just trying to pacify me by your behavior as a flatterer, and therefore you have put your head under my feet. But I know the trick you are trying to play. I know that you are a messenger coming from an even greater trickster, Krishna. Therefore, please leave me. I can understand that you are expert in reuniting two opposing parties, but at the same time you must know that I cannot place my reliance upon you, nor upon your master Krishna. We left our husbands, children, and relatives only for Krishna, yet he did not feel any obligation in exchange. At last he left us forlorn. Do you think we can place our faith in him again? We know that Krishna cannot live for a moment without the association of young women. That is his nature. He is finding difficulty in Mathura because he is no longer in the village amongst innocent cowherd girls. He is in aristocratic society and must be feeling difficulty in making friendships with other young girls. Perhaps you have come here to canvass again, or to take us there. But why should Krishna expect us to go there? He is greatly qualified to entice all the other girls, not only in Vrindavan or Mathura, but all over the universe. His wonderfully enchanting smile is so attractive, and the movements of his eyebrows are so beautiful that he can call for any woman from the heavenly, middle, or plutonic planets, even Mahalakshmi, the greatest of all goddesses of fortune, hankers to render him some service. In comparison to all these women of the universe, what are we? We are very insignificant. Krishna advises himself as magnanimous, and he is praised by great saints. His qualifications would be perfectly utilized if he would only show us some mercy, for we are so downtrodden and neglected by him. You poor messenger, you are only a less intelligent servant. You do not know much about Krishna, how ungrateful and hard-hearted he has been, not only in this life, but in his previous lives also. We have all heard this from our grandmother Purnamasi. She has informed us that Krishna was born in a Kshatriya family previous to this birth, and was known as Ramachandra. In that birth, instead of killing Vali, an enemy of his friend, in the manner of a Kshatriya, he killed him just like a hunter. A hunter takes a secure hiding place and then kills an animal without facing it. So Lord Ramachandra, as a Kshatriya, should have fought with Bali face to face. But instigated by his friend, he killed him from behind a tree. Thus, he deviated from the religious principles of a Kshatriya. Also, he was so attracted by the beauty of Sita that he converted Shurpankhar, the sister of Ravana, into an ugly woman by cutting off her nose and ears. Shurpankhar proposed an intimate relationship with him, and as a Kshatriya, he should have satisfied her. But he was so henpecked that he could not forget Sita Devi, and converted Shurpankhar into an ugly woman. Before that birth as a Kshatriya, he took his birth as a Brahmana boy, known as Vamana Dev, and he asked charity from Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was so magnanimous that he gave him whatever he had. Yet Krishna, as Vamana Dev, ungratefully arrested him, just like a crow, and pushed him down to the Patala kingdom. We know all about Krishna and how ungrateful he is, but here is the difficulty. In spite of his being so cruel and hard-hearted, it is very difficult for us to give up talking about him. And it is not only we who are unable to give up this talk, but great sages and saintly persons also engage in talking about him. We gopis of Vrindavan do not want to make any more friendships with this blackish boy, but we do not know how. We shall be able to give up this remembering and talking about his activities. It's so sweet. So we could keep going, or you guys could share like one of your favorite pastimes with Radha. Yeah, go ahead. I saw Vanessa first, but
Okay. It's fine. Anyone go first?
You go, ladies first.
Okay. You probably heard this, but recently, so it's stuck. Radha and Krishna were planning to meet, of course. They were like going to meet at the Jamuna, I think, in their nice spot by the water. And Radha was on her way and, through the forest, realizing like she lost one of her ankle bells.
Oh.
And Krishna came and met with her. They were going to walk, down to, and he was like, what's wrong? And she's like, I've lost, my favorite ankle bell. It's one that you gifted me. And I can't find it. I need to find it. So she like commanded him to help look for her ankle bells. And of course he's like, okay, of course I will help you look for, your ankle bell, and he couldn't find it anywhere. And so he gets creative and he takes a vine and he like brings it to her and ties it around her ankle. And she's like, what's this? Like this is not, the ankle bell that I'm looking for. This is not the one you gifted me. And he was like, okay, we'll keep looking. And yeah, it's still, he couldn't be found anywhere. So he dug a hole in the ground and like prayed over it. And all of a sudden there appeared the same ankle bell and also like a bunch of other even more valuable, like even more adorned ankle bells. And then of course she was really satisfied in that. And and because he was in anxiety, he was like, oh, it's getting late, we can't go down to the river, I got to do something. And he just made a bunch of them appear like that. So.
Yeah, and when I hear that story, I can just imagine like, similar but way less, scenarios playing out between, a husband and a wife. They're getting ready to go somewhere, and the husband's just like, "Come on, honey, let's go." And she's like, "No, I couldn't find my whatever." I think any man, if they had the ability, would probably do something like that. Like, okay, here you go, honey. And I've heard also that there's in that place where that pastime took place, I've heard that sometimes you can still find ankle bells. That's true or not? Okay, Uncle S. Yes.
All right. I just really love how, Prabhupada's favorite deity, Radha Krishna deities, were Radha London Ishwara, and how they came, with the chip. Mr.
Yeah.
Goyal, this Mr. Goyal it was never clear whether we wanted to sell them or give them. But the whole pastime of how Prabhupada, don't worry, we'll take care of them. And then a block from the house, he stops, he has Shyam Sundar stop the car, and then okay, let's see them. So Prabhupada is just completely enchanted by those Radha and Krishna deities. And when you go to London and you see them, you see why. They're just like the perfect Lord and Lady. And you started with a London quote and from 71, and here's another one from a devotee in London from 73. So it's Prabhupada talking about Radharani in 73 in London. So it's London 73, and it's on Radhastami. The Prabhupada says, anyone who comes before Radharani to serve Krishna, she becomes so pleased. Here is a devotee of Krishna. She immediately recommends, Krishna, here is a devotee. He is better than me. This is Radharani. I may not be a devotee, I may be the most fallen rascal, but I try to reach Krishna through Radharani. Then my business is successful. And then Prabhupada says, therefore we should worship, you were saying a similar thing. So, therefore we should worship Radharani first. That is our business. Instead of offering directly one flower to Krishna, you just put it in the hands of Radharani. My mother Radharani, Jagan Mata, mother of the universe, if you kindly take this flower and offer to Krishna. Radharani says, you have brought a flower? Krishna said, Patram Pushpam, and Prabhupada says, Krishna said, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yume Daktya Prayachati, Gita 926. But don't try to offer Krishna directly. Just offer through Radharani. It will be very much appreciated by Radharani. So, and that's London 73, Radhastami. And I have a ghastly ISKCON story of Radharani, but I don't know if I want to end on a ghastly note. It's when the forms of Radha Vrindavan Chandra were vandalized.
Yeah.
You know that story?
Was it at
New Vrindavan.
Yeah. I love that story.
So, but when the forms that one guest and one devotee were forced at gunpoint to take the forms and smash them on the marble floor by the gunmen, Kirtanananda Maharaj used to tell the story because while that was going on in the temple, the head of the motorcycle gang that had come to terrorize the devotees in New Vrindavan, the head of the gang, he was walking Kirtanananda up the hill to dig his grave. He wanted to shoot him. He wanted to kill him because he was convinced that Kirtanananda was hiding his daughter in New Vrindavan. So anyway, meanwhile, back at the temple, at gunpoint, the devotee and the guest are at first Krishna, first Vrindavan Chandra, and they clean breaks at the limbs, at the legs and the arms. And then when the guest was forced to drop Radharani, she made a sound. All the devotees heard this, and everybody heard it. It was like a supernatural sound. It was like a thunderclap or something. And so as soon as that sound happened, the head of the motorcycle gang, he thought that something had happened at the temple, that he better leave because he knew that what he was doing was illegal. Obviously, he thought maybe the county sheriff came. So he just dropped, he just left Kirtanananda and he ran down. Come on, boys, let's get out of here. So they all got on their Harleys or whatever it was, and drove away. So Kirtananda says, that is the day that Radharani saved my life. Yeah, very intense. And I got there 2 days later.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the other part of the story, how they came back. Jai.
Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead.
You were talking about the mirrored ring. There's another pastime where Krishna was Vanamali. He was the gardener. And they have a temple dedicated to that right next to Kusum Sarovara. And Radharani and the gopis were picking flowers. And then Krishna said, this is my garden. I'm the gardener here. You can't take those flowers. And, some pastime. And so they're like, we're late now. And Radharani's hair became disheveled because she was chasing Krishna. And so he said, no problem, I can do your hair. So then he was braiding her hair and weaving flowers in it. And she had a mirror. And she was as if she was looking at herself, like, is he doing a good job or not? Am I going to leave him a tip? But really, she was just looking at Krishna. And he was weaving her hair with beautiful flowers. And so there's a temple there that commemorates that pastime with Sheilas, with Radha and Krishna Sheilas. And then they have a mirror there, a fake jeweled mirror there, and a comb there for the deities, so Krishna can comb and dress Radharani's hair.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's one of my favorite pictures. I have it in my room, and it's a picture of that pastime, and I just love it. You can see Krishna's face and then reflected in the mirror. It's so beautiful. All right. Okay, close your stand here.
And the devotees are here at 11:30. We're just going to meet again for review and sing a couple of bhajans. Yeah, then the qualities of Radharani.
Jai.
It won't be a long line.
That's good.
And I apologize, I did not qualify to talk about Radha, so I just